All right, I had to make this real quick because there was a LGBT civil war happening right now, and it's hilarious to see. So, years ago we had this push by the wealthy to push transsexual stuff, and the reason that they pushed it is there was a twofold. This was a twofold plan, so they could not only profit, and it's insane profit because in order to transition, it costs a lot of money. You got to pay healthcare workers, you got to pay for pills, you got to pay for drugs, you got to pay for aftercare, you got to pay for therapists, and it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to have your dick turned into a vagina. So they pushed this because it pumped money into two existing industries, and it created new industries. It was another way to funnel money from the masses into the pockets of the wealthy. The other part of their plan was to divide people and to distract people. So people were fighting about men pulling their dicks out in women's bathrooms around underage kids who were in the bathroom they're supposed to be in. While people were fighting about that, the government was behind their back pushing all kinds of stuff like, well, we're going to do this pandemic. We're going to funnel money to the Ukraine. We're going to funnel money to Israel. They hid all that stuff, and they made people fight on this other issue, which was really, I don't want to say it was an irrelevant issue, because it is relevant that we fight against this whole transsexual movement, because the transsexual movement is a disturbing, disgusting, dangerous movement, because it targets people who suffer from legitimate mental issues. It targets them, and instead of giving those people the counsel, the help, and the support that they really need, which is guidance on how they can live in the skin that they're already in, it also targeted children. It was pushed against children. I mean, this was really a demonic movement. So it wasn't irrelevant that we were fighting against it. But the reason I say irrelevant is the fight shouldn't have existed. I mean, clearly, these are people that have mental issues that need some help. They need guidance and they need help. If a man comes out and says, look, I'm sad and I want you to cut a part of my body off and then surgically alter it to be a hole. I want you to literally put a larger hole in my body. That clearly, if anybody were to do that, if someone came out and said, I want to be a seal and I want you to turn my hands into fins, we would say, dude, what? And we would look at them and say, that's wrong. You can't do that. We're not going to help you do that, to disfigure yourself. And we got to sit down and help you in some way. Instead of doing that, they're like, yeah, just mutilate yourself and create more issues for yourself, because in the future we know that this is going to result in some harm psychologically for you when you kind of snap out of this. Instead of doing that, we're just like, yeah, just go ahead. These are people that needed actual guidance and help outside of the shit that we've been giving to them. And we haven't been able to do that because obviously we've been this back and forth that the wealthy have engineered. So we've been trying to I kind of went off on a tangent, forgot my initial point, but this distraction that has been created by the wealthy in order to fool and deceive us. Us sane people have been pushing back against it for a long time now. And you've had members within the LGBT community, the homosexual men and women who don't have mental problems, who were pushing back against us. And we're like, dude, you got to fight with us. This isn't, we can't have children being told that they can cut off their genitals. Sane homosexuals were fighting against us because they were like, well, no, the transsexual people are part of our group and they help bolster our numbers and give us strength because we have more people and more people are talking about us. So we're going to join them and fight with them. Okay. And now it started to get to a point where now you got the sane homosexuals who are now being affected. So some black homosexual woman came out and she was in a gym and some guy came in, took his dick out, and she was like, hey, what are you doing? What the fuck? And he was like, hey, stop saying that. I'm a woman. She was like, what are you talking about? You got a cock and balls.
A biological woman had the shock of her life when she was changing in the locker room of a Gold's Gym in LA. LA-based singer-songwriter Tish Hyman shockingly had her membership to the gym revoked after she called out a transgender woman for being in the women's changing rooms.
Gold's Gym! Men! Grown men with big dicks in the women's locker room! And that's why I'm getting kicked out, and I want to make sure the girls know! The fuck? Everybody saw that man in the fucking locker room. No one saying shit. And I'm fucking done with it. It's fucking stupid. It's dangerous. Me naked in front of a man without my permission. But I ain't the one who gets kicked out the gym, y'all. I'm terminated for not wanting men in the locker room.
Hyman then went on to confront the trans woman, supported by other biological men in the corridor of the gym.
How are you?
Did you tell me or not that women like to see dick?
I'm asking you a question.
Exactly. Get out of the way now. No. Now he knows how to be a man, right? Now he knows how to be a man. Stay out of the women's locker room. We don't want it. He needs to have his gym membership revoked for that shit. And the woman told you. He assaulted me. The girl told already. We already filed reports. No.
That's fine. I want the video.
You can't get rid of me for this. I'm a woman and I have every right to not want a man in the restroom when I'm naked. There are girls naked in there. Look at them walking in there like it's okay. It's not okay.
Hyman then recounted her confronting experience when she returned to her car.
I just had the worst experience ever at the gym, at Gold's Gym, and I think this is probably happening at gyms across America. We're like, trans women are going into the women's locker room and not really caring about how women feel about it. And it's really hurtful, yo. Like, how you gonna say you wanna be a woman or that you are a woman, but you don't give a fuck how women feel? Today I was naked in the locker room. I turn around and there's a man there in boy clothes, lip gloss, standing there looking at me. I'm butt naked. So the first thing I think is maybe there's a worker in here. Maybe I missed the sign. I say the word sir to say, sir, what are you doing in here? He goes, don't fucking talk to me. I'm a woman. I have a right to be in here. Immediately, I'm fucking pissed because I'm butt naked. I feel violated. I feel like weird. Like, I don't want to deal with this, right? So the girls are walking in and they're seeing the commotion and they actually chime in and say, yo, I don't know why he's in here. He's not supposed to be in here. And then I talk to the people that work at Gold's Gym and they don't really have anything to do. They just like, oh, we can file a report about it, incident report. What the fuck is going on? Like, listen, how can you say you're a woman or you want to be a woman and you don't care how women feel?
And he was like, you can't say that, I'm a woman. And the owners of the people in the gym, like the workers there, were like, yep, that guy with the dick hanging out, that's that guy with that cock, that's a woman. Because he said he's a woman, so he's a woman. And the homosexual woman just had to deal with it. They yelled at her. They kicked her out of the gym. I think he got in trouble too. The guy that said he's a woman, he got in trouble too. But she got in trouble. She got kicked out of the gym. I think their membership was revoked. And this is what happens when you blindly align yourself with people that unfortunately have, severe mental issues. This is what's going to happen. Now the homosexuals, specifically the homosexual women, are now running into a lot of issues. You have now men saying that, well, I'm a woman, so if you're a homosexual, this stuff, because it's so deranged, it's hard to really explain. So a man who says he's a woman, a transvestite, who comes out and says, I have a cock, but I'm a woman, they're now complaining because if a homosexual woman, so a woman that only likes having sex with women, if a homosexual woman rebuffs his advances, he's like, well, she's being homophobic or transphobic because she's not sleeping with me because she says I'm a man, but I'm a woman. I can't even explain this shit. So the tranny men are upset that the homosexual women won't have sex with them because the homosexual women don't want to have sex with men. But in the logic, in the mind of these people with mental problems, the homosexuals think that the homosexuals are saying, well, I'm not a man, I'm actually a woman, so you should have sex with me. It's all kind of stuff that's affecting these people negatively. And it's because these people blindly went along with this, bringing this backing up this group. So this is what happens when you throw logic to the wind just to try to improve your standing in life or bolster your numbers. This should have always been everybody working. And I don't want to say everybody versus transvestites, because I don't, these transvestite people, they are victims in this. Because nobody wants to say it, we don't treat them this way, but these people have genuine mental issues. And these people genuinely need help. They look at themselves and they feel a hatred and a disgust. And that's abnormal to look at your own self. And I mean, everybody looks at themselves and sees something they want to change. No, these people I want parts of me removed and altered. When you go on the surgical table, there is a risk of death or severe injury. And people are saying, I'll go through that just because I hate myself so much. People can't acknowledge that that's wrong, that something is wrong with that there is an issue with that.
Thank you so much for joining me. I mean, I came across you, found you on Twitter and all the other things, and your message really resonated with me. And I feel that it's something that we need to share with people so they understand that somebody who's 42 got caught into this, that the damage they're doing to the children. But tell me a little bit about your story.
Well, my story is not unlike most stories. At 42, I was kind of in a vulnerable place. I have always been kind of a dominant person in everything that I've ever done. And I was married to a woman that used to say over the years, you do that just like a man. You were born in the wrong body. Or my sister would say, you know what, you're the perfect husband. Although I didn't look or I wasn't butch, I had that really dominant personality. And I came to a vulnerable place in my life, watching Jazz Jennings and all that kind of stuff. And casually I said, God, I wonder if I'm born in the wrong body. And within a couple of days, I was sitting in front of a trans woman. And one of the first things that she said to me was, well, how long have you been dressing like a man? And trust me, I mean, I had a female business, so you can't be super butch and be an executive. You just can't. And, but that sentence at that time just absolutely shattered me into the idea of total and complete mortification that I was born in the wrong body and I didn't know it. And everybody knew it but me. So it was kind of horrible for, a couple of weeks thinking, man, I'm kind of stupid. And then after that, I started to kind of change my life from what it would have been like if I was born a boy, then a girl. My father played professional sports. I probably would have played professional sports if I was a man. I probably would have done all these things. I would have been lifted on whatever platform that people say they want in a boy. I was athletic, just all that stuff. And so as I go through all those challenges in my life, being gay, dealing with that, never wanting to do that, I thought, well, God, maybe I am born in the wrong body. And it was at that moment that nobody could take that away from me. That's how I started to transition.
Worrying about that moment is that a lot of young people are sort of saying, oh, well, maybe I'm in the wrong body, and they're young. So they may be teenagers, they may be, prepubescent, and they're going through that. And then adults are kind of verifying and sort of giving them the feeling that maybe they are, and then starting the process. So this started you on a process. And what was the first thing that you did in that process when you felt, okay, that when you'd heard that and it resonated with you, you thought, right, what was the first thing you did?
Well, it was God, within a couple of weeks I was on hormones, and the doctor said something to me that I probably should have paid attention to, but I was in that idea that, hey, I get to fit, I don't have to be a lesbian. I don't have to. The first thing people say to me is, why are you a lesbian? You're a decent looking woman. You can get a man. I mean, your whole life is surrounded by that. And I thought, God, maybe that will make that go away. And so, from that point, the doctor told me that, hey, we really don't know how much hormones to give you. We don't know. It's never been studied. We do have to give you massive amounts to kind of basically turn down your estrogen and then turn up your testosterone so you have a testosterone-driven body. So we're not giving kids just a little bit of testosterone. I mean, they have to give like 3 times more to kids that are suicidal. And it just keeps going down from there. So you said in the beginning that I almost died for medical transition, and I did. And it puts me in a very, very different situation with the fact that I have 3 kids that are at the age that these children are thinking that they're transgender, on top of doing it, on top of researching it and trying to save my own life. And here's the thing that is very, very interesting to me. And that is, there are only 7 studies that say the medicalization of children is beneficial. And every single one of them has been retracted with, oops, we're sorry, doesn't work, or not enough time to say if it's beneficial or not. Now, we do have one long-term study, and that study tells us that us trans are most suicidal, not before, after 7 to 10 years, because it's a process, right? You get that, oh, I get to fit in. And then when you get to the done, you don't have anything else to do. You kind of look left and right and go, well, that didn't help. And then you have to go, hey, I still have to work on the inside. And that's why these kids are so insistent. It's because they are different. And that's what I would tell parents. Any child that says that they're transgender, first of all, transgender is cosmetic surgery. It doesn't fix anything. All the studies say it makes mental health worse. The health complications are they're astronomical. They're finding that girls' spines aren't fusing together, early onset osteoporosis, for a process that actually makes mental health worse. Sometimes, just sitting in my office, I just look and I just think there's going to be somebody that comes out at any moment and say, you're on candid camera, we're not medically transitioning kids. You dork. I mean, it's that wrong that, I mean, I don't understand why people don't get it. And the reason why they don't get it is because the mainstream media is not getting it out. You know that video that I have on my Twitter? Yeah. That video that has like 4 million views? Yeah. That had over 4 million views. Now, I've been kicked off of Twitter 6 times. Since Elon has taken over, it's the reason why we're having a shift, is that people are allowed to put their opinions up. That video just is on fire. 4 million people have watched that video. And that video was basically talking to the media, telling them, shame on you. All you're doing is calling this senator over here a bigot instead of looking at the facts. And, well, you've seen it. And would you be surprised to know that not one journalist reached out to me? Now, I did get Brittany Bailey to make fun of me, but that's it. That's it.
Well, so I'm glad.
Society doesn't know what's happening.
Well, I'm really glad I reached out to you, because I really was moved by that video. And I want to ask you, so what were your complications then? Because you said you almost died. What happened to you? Why did you almost die?
Well, there were some problems with the surgery. First of all, I got my bladder nicked, one of my first surgeries. I didn't have much problem until I got to the end, and which was, blood stuff and having to be on blood thinners, and it does affect your heart and all that kind of stuff. Until I had a bottom surgery, and the bottom surgery, basically after that surgery that I now know I should have never gotten because I have blood issues, I had a pulmonary embolism that induced a stress heart attack. After that, it was actually one of the biggest heart attacks in the state of Kansas, by the way, in the state of Texas, by the way. And after that, I found out that I had a ligament sticking through my arm. I had no clue. I went to the doctor, the trans doctor, and he's like, oh, no, you're fine. The next day I'm in surgery for that. I go back to the doctor and, I show him something here that I have an infection in this, side where they put that tube in. He says, oh, you're great. I'm in an ambulance 2 days later with sepsis. Then I started to feel better. And then I started to feel like hell. And nobody could help me. I lost my insurance. My transgender surgeon in Texas, he had 9 medical malpractice cases against him in California, banned from conducting surgery in San Francisco, moves to Texas where they have a tort reform act and our governor takes millions from gender clinics. He basically, I was in and out of the hospital. He never put me in the hospital. And I spent 17 months with a reoccurring infection. And that reoccurring infection got so bad that I lost everything. That's how I lost everything. How I know it's experimental is because I had to figure out what was wrong with me first. Second of all, I had to get on state-funded insurance because I lost everything. I couldn't find anybody in the state that I was in that knew what to do with me. Oh, it's experimental. And they found that I had 6 inches of hair on the inside of my urethra. So that caused a 17-month infection. Towards the end, I was still working so I could get insurance, but I had an IV sick tube in my arm. Before I went to work, I would go get IV antibiotics for 30 days. On the weekends, I would check myself from the hospital and then check myself out because I didn't have insurance. Nobody would help me with it. It's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare.
And finally, so because we're running out of time, in terms of maintaining this whole thing, is there a lot of maintenance in it? Because people think you've had the surgery, now you can just go away. Or what do you have to do? Do you have to take drugs every day? We've got about a minute left. What's your...
Okay, no. As far as the surgeries, the bottom surgeries, they're notorious for bladder infections. They do become life-saving after antibiotics don't work anymore. So reoccurring bladder infections are one. Heart issues, lung issues. You have to be on synthetic hormones if you have a full, complete 100% transition. So there are enormous amounts of health issues for a process that makes mental health worse. It's like I said, I'm on candid camera. I'm waiting for him to pop out anytime.
Has it shortened your life? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, yeah, absolutely it has. Testosterone and cross-sex hormones actually shorten your life 10 to 15%. That's a fact. But I have congestive heart failure from my heart attack. I have, lung damage. I get reoccurring infections still. So, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not going to be here very long.
Do you wish you hadn't done it?
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, medical transition doesn't fix anything. And unfortunately, people don't realize that. And the people with true gender dysphoria, which is a serious mental illness, those are the ones that are killing themselves at 7 to 10 years, because those are the people that are being medically transitioned for a delusion. It's the people that know it's cosmetic surgery that do halfway decent.
Nobody should look at themselves and feel disgust to the point where they want to spend hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars just to make some sort of change that could result in some sort of permanent injury or even death. That's illogical, irrational, and it's insanity. And instead of us working to help these people and to acknowledge, well, something's not right here and we as a community need to set something up to deal with these people, no, we just throw them to the wind and say, nope, everything's fine. Go out to these vultures who call themselves psychiatrists and psychologists who will just tell you what they think you need to hear in order to get a check. Go out to these pharmaceutical companies who are looking to make a check, so they'll sell you all kinds of drugs and chemicals and shit to alter your body. Go out to these doctors and these plastic surgeons who, in order to get a check, will just do whatever you ask them to do in order to make sure that you give them money. Instead of throwing these people out to those vultures, we need to be helping those people and giving them counsel. Hey, Johnny, you don't like the fact that you got a dick? Well, why don't you like the fact that you got a dick? Or you feel like you're a woman? Well, you're not a woman, but you can, in the society we live in, if you decide you want to take on more feminine attributes, dude, there's parts of the country, there's huge portions of this country where that is accepted. We'll help you relocate there. There's a community that will accept you. If you feel like you're a woman and it's because you're interested in men, there's plenty of men that'll be interested in you. You don't have to remove your parts of your body. There are men out there that will enjoy that. So we'll send you over to those communities. It's not like homosexual communities are like Skid Row. I think almost every, if not every, homosexual community is affluent. You go to San Francisco, a lot of money. You go to homosexuals tend to live in some of the most wealthy parts of the country. San Francisco, the Village in New York City, Seattle, not Seattle, I meant Portland. I think it's in Portland. I don't know, but there's places all over the country where homosexuals can go. LA, and they're accepted. I mean, and whatever you want to do, you like fucking goats and shit. You like fucking people that dress up like camels. That's perfectly normal. You want to dress up like a camel and walk around and have intercourse with people that dress up like teddy bears, dude. They'll accept you. And we can create housing for those people in those communities, send them there, maybe give them some funding so that they can exist and live for a while we give them medical, psychological treatment. And what I mean by that is just give them counsel. I'm not talking about drugs and medicine. let them sit down with someone who will work to convince them that how you were born, that's who you are and that's who you have to be, and that's fine. If there are other parts of life that you feel you don't have access to because you look the way you look, well, trust us, there are ways to get access to what you want, and we'll work with you to show you those avenues to get there. That's better than these people committing suicide and going into debt and going into surgeries and taking drugs. That's better than that. There's so many ways we can help these people. So I don't want to kick down on these people. I make jokes and stuff like that. And the only reason I make jokes is because we have been being bombarded with this idea that we're wrong, and for thinking that a man walking into a girl's bathroom is abnormal. So, it kind of defensively, I just kick back or push back with jokes. But I don't hate people who are transvestites, because again, they can't help this. It's just something in their brains, the way it works. It makes them think, well, you should, something's wrong with you. And it's something that we have to fix. So I don't want to push back against them to the point where I'm saying that what I was about to say earlier, that we have a conflict between us and them. The conflict is really between us and the wealthy people that are pushing this shit, because they're vultures and they're trying to feed on the carcasses of these people's psychology, these people's emotional issues. So the homosexuals out there now are starting to really see that, these people have mental issues that have not been treated, and you've lumped them into your group, and now they're going to start doing things to affect your group, and it's starting to show, and it's going to get worse and worse. If you don't treat a problem, a health or a medical issue, it tends to get worse and worse, and we're not treating what needs to be treated with these people. So it's going to become more outlandish and more obscene and more perverse and more deranged as it goes on. And homosexuals, you've created this tag LGBTQ, and you've included these people into your group, and you've given them support, money, assistance, a voice, and you didn't give them a voice to help them. You gave them a voice to disrupt normalcy just so that they could engage in some sort of perverse fantasy that exists in their mind. It's not as if the homosexuals brought these people on board and were actually giving them help, giving them the stuff that I mentioned earlier. That's not what's happening. They are bringing they have worked to just help these people with their psychosis, help try to make their psychosis a reality. You can't make fantasies into reality. And that's what they've been working to try to do. So they haven't really been helping these people. They've just been going along, following along behind the advice of the wealthy. And it's resulting in a lot of lunacy in the world. And so now the homosexuals, the LG people, the homosexuals in that term, LGBTQ, the homosexuals in that term, now they're starting to have to fight back against the TQ people, because now you're starting to see the lunacy is starting to affect you. So if homosexuals want to keep this from getting any worse, y'all got to get on board with the rest of us, and we have to push what I just said earlier. We have to push that these people that it has to be. I think homosexuals think that if you call transvestites, if we normalize the fact that transvestites have a mental issue, that it will spread to homosexuals having a mental issue. That's what they're afraid of. And that you shouldn't be afraid of that. And homosexuality has been a normal part of our society for a long time now. So I don't know why you would be afraid of that. If that starts to become a question, well, then you push back against that. But that won't become part of the conversation, because the vast majority of us heterosexuals, we know at this point that most homosexuals, if not all homosexuals, they're not homosexuals because they have mental issues. Some of them do, just like some of us hetero people have mental issues. But because you're a homosexual, that doesn't mean you have a mental issue. Most of us know that now. No homosexuals have been exhibiting actions that are so insane that we would look at them and say, oh, something's wrong with you. No. So don't be afraid that we're pushing that message for transvestites. That doesn't translate over to you. You decided to add the TQ to your title. We didn't. You decided to do that. And now you don't want to help us fight back against certain things that are going on because now you think, well, we've attached ourselves to these people. We don't want to be affected. Well, that's selfish. Those people need assistance. They need help. They need psychological help from us. And if you don't help us fix this and give these people the actual help that they need so that our country can go, so that the world can get back to a sense of normalcy when it comes to this topic, well, you guys are going to be affected because you attached yourselves to them. They're going to start affecting you, your communities, and your livelihoods, and you're going to start to see negative things like this, like this black homosexual woman that had to engage with cock and balls on her daily trip to the gym. You're going to start to see shit like that happening more often, but it's going to get a lot worse. So wake up.